This is Grandmaster Boris Alterman and you're watching Gambit Guide. So welcome to Gambit Guide, and today we continue with the Gorin Gambit part 2, and I would like to start from the game played by fourth world champion Alexander Alokhin in his Odessa match against Boris Verlinsky, which started with e4, e5, d4, e takes d4, c3. So this is just another opportunity for just different moves order, but we get in the same position after d takes c3, knight takes c3, knight c6, and knight f3. So reaching the classical situation in the Gorin Gambit. d6, bishop c4, and here black played knight f6. So I would say this is one of the main lines in the opening we studied. So black is just intending to complete his development by playing bishop e7 and then short castling, then develop his light square bishop, after which it's quite unclear what for white is having the compensation here for the sacrificed pawn. So when you have the development advantage, it's absolutely necessary to play very aggressive and to find the targets in position of your opponent. So right now f7 is the most obvious and the best target for white pieces, since white is having bishop only looking to f7, and the queen b3 is the most natural, just building the strong battery. At the same time f7, and black is also has to look at b7 pawn in many variations. Why queen b3 is much better than knight g5? Because knight g5 always could be met by knight e5, attacking the bishop, and now after bishop goes, black would start attacking white's knight on g5 by playing h6, so sending away the knight, and the game becomes very, very unclear. I mean, unclear how white is going to find here some initiative for his sacrificed pawn. So that's why queen b3 is most precise moves order. So in that case, black cannot counterattack with knight a5. After bishop takes f7, king e7, and queen a4, king takes f7 and queen takes a5. Despite the fact white lost his light square bishop, black's king lost the castling rights, and white is having very good initiative in the center. So white is just simply going to castle short side and e4, e5. Black's king is stuck still on f7, so need just time for black to complete his development. It leaves black only two opportunities to protect the pawn on f7. So black can play queen e7 or queen d7. So let's start with queen e7. So this move was tested in the game which Alokhin played in 1943 during the Second World War. After castling short side, so what is intended just bishop g5 and then knight d5 in very bad situation. On knight a5 we always have queen b5 check, attacking the knight, and black has to move knight c6 back, of course, allowing white to gain his development advantage after, let's say, bishop g5. So black played knight d7, but in that case after knight d5 tried to counterattack with knight c5, queen c3, queen d8, and bishop g5. White is just having great initiative for just one sacrifice pawn. Since, let's say, move like f6 leads to only to the biggest problem, so white just can sack bishop, let's say bishop takes and knight takes f6, and just without checking any more lines, we just simply can play queen d5 and just to collect the rook on h8. So the game is over. So after bishop g5, queen d7, Alokhin developed his attack with b4, knight e6, bishop h4, after which still it's very unclear how black is going to develop his dark square bishop. So white is also intending b4, b5. So game continued. Knight c to d8. So black just playing so much moves with the same piece. So it should be punished, of course. Rook a to d1. So black has to attack white's knight. c6, knight e3. So finding the new targets on the black's position, the d6 pawn. Black also cannot play g6 since rook on h8 is hanging, so necessary to play rook g8. So look at black pieces, of course, cannot survive for a while, and Alohin finished the game nicely. Knight f5, b5, bishop e2, so knight b7, and finally knight e5, queen c7, knight takes c6. Finally, white's great development advantage just played his role, and white now transform his advantage into the material one. So b5 pawn is also gone. After g6, bishop takes b5, bishop d7, and knight e3. Black just hopeless against knight d5. So very soon, Alohin's opponent decided to call it a day. So, to the starting point, after queen b3 move, that definitely queen d7 should be a better reaction in that case. After which black is intending not bishop e7, because bishop would take on f7 simply, but black is threatening knight a5 just to destroy white's battery and to exchange the light square bishop. So once again, white has to play very aggressively, so for keeping his initiative. And knight g5, this is the strongest move also played by Alohin against Boris Verlinsky, so we just follow the main line, knight g5. Now, if black is playing very passively, knight d8, white is just simply gaining more space after f4 and intending e4, e5. Here it's no question white is having more than a full compensation for a pawn. For instance, after h6 and knight f3, it's quite difficult for black to stop e4, e5. That's why, after knight g5, the main and the strongest response for black is knight e5. Simultaneously protects the f7 pawn and attacks the bishop on c4. So how white should continue? Definitely move like bishop e2 will be met by h6, and white has to move away his knight from g5, so losing his attack, so losing his initiative. So definitely white has to continue playing very aggressively. Bishop b5, threatening the queen, force black to play c6, and now smash black's position of the knight on e5 after f4. So knight is under attack. Despite the fact that after c takes b5 and f takes e5, white lost his light square bishop, he opens additional lines. In the game between Lutikov and Lisitsyn from the Leningrad tournament 1951, after knight g6 and bishop c4, white got just enormous attack. For instance, d5, e takes d5, bishop c5, bishop d2, white is threatening long castling. So it forced black to play queen e7. And here also, after king d1, white is intending rook e1. And white pieces are dominating the board. However, this position is still playable. Let's say after king d1, black answered short castling. h3, avoiding bishop g4 and threatening rook e1. b5, c takes d5, rook e1, queen d8. So it's quite difficult to violate it, but I believe that white's position is better anyway after knight takes b5. However, this is quite interesting opportunity for black. So once again, so black is playing knight g6 and ready to meet bishop c4 by d5. After c takes b5, we are reaching the main line. F takes e5, d takes e5. So, of course, white is not going to capture on b5 with his queen. Trading of the strongest piece here is only demolishing white's development advantage. So we have to bring more pieces in bishop to e3. So bishop e3 played. So this, I would say, position become a real challenge for many players, because after bishop e3, black can protect the pawn after a6, but this would lead to the disaster after move rook d1. And let's say after queen c7 and knight takes f7, queen takes f7 and rook d8 check, so black is going to lose his queen. At any case, let's say after king e7, also white can play bishop c5. But even stronger in this position, just to play bishop b6. So this distraction, so white is threatening queen takes f7, not leaving black much opportunities. So same problem is after queen e7, because once again white is playing bishop c5, attacking black's queen, and after queen takes c5, queen takes f7, and this is a checkmate. So let's start from this historical game that after bishop e3, Verlinsky answered with bishop d6. Alokhin immediately played knight takes b5, and after short castling, so this is necessary, otherwise white just were threatening here to play knight takes d6 and then queen takes f7. So black has no time for attacking the white's knight after it's, let's say, a6. But after castling short side and rook d1, all black pieces are pinned. Knight e8, short castling. Also keeping an eye on f7 and also threatening knight takes d6 and bishop c5 is a decisive advantage. So black is in critical situation. After queen e7, Alokhin finds that just very nice tactical resource. Knight takes d6, and now queen a3. Black is hopeless. There's no chance to save this knight on d6. After rook d8, knight takes f7. White is taking other opportunities that black's queen on e7 is unprotected. So there is no time for black to recapture on f7 with his knight, since queen takes e7 wins immediately. Bishop g4, rook takes d6, and white just with extra piece easily realize his material advantage. After rook e8, bishop g5, and queen c7. Queen b3. So the checkmate is coming very soon. So black resigned after bishop e2. Knight takes e5. King h8. Rook c1. Just a piece up and the full domination. So just great play by Alexander Alokhin. So I would like to remind you that this was a game between Alokhin and Verlinsky from Odessa match 1918. So the theory of this variation continued to develop in 19th. So I would like just to show you that one of the strongest former Yugoslavian Republic Grandmaster, Cermek, played this position with white a few times, and in different occasions here after bishop e3, a5. So black is trying to play a4 next move. Short castling, a4, and queen takes b5. White still keeps very unpleasant advantage. So white is intending rook d1. After queen takes b5 and knight takes b5 is also not so easy to escape from this position. So knight c7 threat. So white is just having great development advantage. So much better for black in this position after f4, as today's theory says, to answer knight g4. But even now after h3, h6, h takes g4 and c takes b5, in the game between Yuri Krivoruchko and Vladimir Sakun from the Ukrainian under-18 championship from 2004, white continued just simply bishop e3, and after b4, queen takes b4, rook g8, knight f3, still continue keeping just very, very unpleasant threats against position of black's king, which is still in the center. d5, queen b3, knight takes e4, and long castling. Knight takes c3, b takes c3. There is no good square for black's king, so it's very difficult to finish the development and to castle. After queen e7, king b2. So white just has to prevent black from trading the queens after queen e3, and bishop on e3 cannot be touched because rook h to e1. Bishop takes g4, and rook takes d5, once again dominating the board. Black can't escape from this position. Black is totally lost. a6, rook e1. White is threatening right now bishop c5, so position of control of the center square is a decisive factor, as we already know from the old-fashioned games of polymorphy. So this example will just continue the classical, I would say, games about the development advantage. So after rook e1, bishop e6, white simply played bishop b6, preventing black from rook d8 and threatening decisive queen a4 check. Rook c8, and after f4, f5, the game finished very soon. Once again, black did not find the way how to solve the problem in the very sharp and dangerous Gorin gambit. So today we looked at the position after black is playing d6, and after bishop c4 playing knight f6. So in that case, queen b3 is extremely unpleasant continuation, and for black it's not so easy to find the right answer. So in the next session, the next and the last lesson about the Gorin gambit, we will look more in deep the black opportunity after bishop b4, when black is trying to exchange white's strong powerful knight on c3, and then just to solve his development problems after d6 and knight f6 with the idea to castle very soon. If you have any question, you can leave me a message on ICC. Follow Gambit Guide on Chess FM, and see you next time.